Hi guys, Dogo here with a new video, and this video we will brainstorm about Soloq Rbg, and I think that's something you can actually do for yourself as well. I think it's actually very important if you want to be a complete player for Soloq Rbg. Once it's going out, you're like pretty much with yourself and your sword trying to get rating, and there will be games where you're going to say, oh man, I don't have the great team. No, what you want to be is actually in control, and what you want to be is someone that is very flexible in every single situation. I'm going to brainstorm for every single map and say the different roles you can have as a player inside those maps. Of course, we're going to still play those maps, play them maps like 10,000 times until we have like a better understanding on the situations on those maps and where you can actually carry games with your own input. Again, not every single game is going to be carryable. The same applies to a lot of games like Valorant, CSGO, CS2 very soon. I think it's already, no, very soon. Anyways, League of Legends, Dota 2, any team-based game has a proportion where you are not really in control of the situation. Sometimes you're going to lose and you did everything you had to, but it is what it is. You don't really had the best team, or you didn't really have the best situations where you could carry the best possible game, especially depending on the class you're playing. But I want to give you the tools to actually understanding what's going on in a match. I'm going to portray first and foremost, excuse me, is it better like this? I think it's better like this. I think it's even better like this. Alright, let's talk real quickly what is Soloq Rbg. Soloq Rbg is a 8 versus 8 game mode, which is mostly 6 DPS, 2 healers versus mirror, or pretty much 5 DPS, 1 tank, 2 healers versus mirror. Currently, if you have a tank, it means that you have CTF maps. So it means that you have Warsaw Gulch and Twin Peaks. Alright, and you have also the addition of other maps. If you are a DPS only, I would say comp, you're going to have everything but CTF map. Alright, again, I try to explain it with a block note. If you don't understand something I'm saying or what I'm writing, please do let me know in the comment section below, because I always kind of react on every single comment, either with a heart if I agree 100% pretty much, or if I want to bring some input from myself, I try to respond, or whenever I'm not agreeing, I'm also responding. So again, I'm very active in the comments. I think most people do already know that. I'm kind of shining through the lens, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Again, now let's talk. You have those maps. I assume we have Warsaw Gulch. That is a map where you're going to have 1 tank, 5 DPS, and 6 healers. What you are 2 healers. Excuse me. What did I say? 6 healers. Pretty much, this is going to be the flag carrier. Unfortunately, what I would like to be having is 6 DPS possibility in CTF maps where the stacks are not going to be stackable, but it is what it is. Normally, the tank is the flag carrier. That is just going to be something like this. Do you have 1 healer probably going on the FC, and then 1 healer for team fights? This is pretty much how it goes normally. That is normally the meta. So if you are like, let's say, a resto druid, you can, and you're playing with a garden druid, with a bit of luck, you get a garden druid. What you could do is stealth both, and if there is a rogue defending, which can happen. Again, in Soloq RPGs, it's a bit more hectic. You don't really have always a defender, but if you have a defender, at least you are there to help and to support. Then you have the 5 DPSers. What you have normally is a defending team and a offensive team. What you as a player individual can be is the difference maker, which means that if you see that no one is defending, if no one is defending, if no def, you are the def, pretty much. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, Ryan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If no def, it means that you are the defending team. You are the defending member. You have to actually get out of the way and defend. And you have multiple classes and specs that can actually do that. Most specs can actually defend. Most specs that are more offensive oriented, like for example warrior, is more suited for offensive gameplay. But again, if you don't have any defenders, I mean, you're going to probably lose the game if they are actually a bit smarter than you on the other team, right? So what you want to be is actually the flexible guy that is actually like going to fill the cracks. And you're going to, of course, communicate at the start of the match saying, oh, who is defending, who is offensive. Look, if we have both flag, you guys are going to defend, we are going to be offense. And then you're going to try to make a cohesive team out of that. Again, you should know that some people are not going to type or not even going to listen. Some people are not even like having a chat anymore. Sometimes they just hide the chat because it is true that it is mostly negative stuff whenever you're watching the chat. But hopefully, Soloq Rbgs, you're using your pings, you're using your chat whenever you have to ink something. Don't type too much information that is not needed. You don't have to tell that someone is bad. It doesn't matter because you're either not going to play with that guy anymore. He's going to ignore you or even report you and you get like a ban someday somehow. So you should not do that. But if no offense or lack offense, you should be the guy, the one and only killing blow machine on your team. I'm going to indicate a few defenders in my eyes. If you're like a DPS, so defensive DPSs would be easily a warlock because of the gate, the TP, and you can also like TP people out of the way. So with the PvP talents, you can basically disrupt a lot of offensive power from them. You have also like spam fear. You have, of course, the Retribution Paladin, which is also a very good defender. It's also a very good offensive player, but as a red Paladin, you can actually do very well as a defender. You have, of course, the odd Hunter for the sack, although I prefer Hunter in offense. You can also do a defensive Hunter with sack and being a BM Hunter, for example, and be very annoying. Or MM Hunter with a lot of pushes. You can actually push people off of ledges and can win some fights for yourself. You have also the DK. DK is also a very good defender because of all the grips, all the CC that you can bring. You can do very well with that. So those are the four that I'm like having on top of my mind. I guess mage is also a good defender again on especially on Warsong Gulch, where you can have ice wall, which is very strong, especially if you're escaping through the tunnel. You can actually put the ice wall at the tunnel and you can actually win a lot of time with it. So those are like in my mind the defenders. Of course, you have the healers. The ideal healers that you want in defense is pretty much a disc priest, a resto druid. Resto druid is also a very good defender. A preservation evoker, because he can actually like use a lot of mobility to help your team and also displace the enemy team, I would say. This is pretty much like a Soloq Rbg brainstorm for Warsong Gulch and for TP. I think it will be a very long video if I was making about everything, but I'm going to talk about the CTF maps first, then I'm going to talk about the domination maps, and then about the special maps as 3 videos. All right, so we have Disc Priest, Resto Druid, the Preservation as the defenders. You could also have Holy Paladin. I do like Holy Paladin in offense because of Hajj and also a Repentance and also a offensive pop on your carries, especially on Rogue, can very much do wonders. But I already spoiled offensive. What you want as a DPS is probably a Rogue. A Rogue is very strong with the CC, has a lot of burst potential and can actually do very well versus a flag carrier. Again, you can also kill yourself by damaging a Vengeance Demon Hunter or a Guardian Druid, but that's the job of a Rogue to actually know when he can actually win a match or not. But again, a Rogue can have a high impact on this map. You have also a warrior, which is also very strong. You also have red paladin, a devastation evoker is also very strong with augmentation. It's a bit the same, to be honest. Augmentation can also be defending. Let's be honest, it's also a very good defender. You have your hunters, which are also very strong. I'm still thinking monk is also very strong. Windwalker is also very strong. DH is also very strong. So those are on my minds. If again, I'm not like citing a spec, it can mean that it just is good for defense and offense. For example, Shadow Priest could be both in defending team as also on the offensive team. But this is not the list that you should use it for yourself. Again, you should know that those are the better specs to defend. But if you see that you have no defense, it doesn't matter if you are a warrior, just go defend. You don't have any choice. You want to be able to win the game, and that's the most important thing. You want to fill the cracks. You want to be the snake very, very close to the ground and be very flexible. You want to be having a helicopter view of your own match and be able to carry games through that. And people are going to say that you would have like no real impact because you're not really the playmaker. But I would even say that you are the reason why you would win the game because of the flexibility you bring. Again, if you have to, let's say, flag carry for the team because the tank is not doing it, you have to do it. There's no other way. Nobody is going to do it for you. If the tank is not doing it, you have to do it. And again, you have to be flexible and know what the limits are as a player. And sometimes you will lose, but it is what it is, right? And then you have also your healers. And most often, resto shamans are very strong into offensive teams because it has a lot of damage, but also a lot of totems to actually help your offensive team. You also have your holy priest, which is also a very good defender, by the way. But holy priest, holies, I would even say. So you have the holy priest and the holy paladin, and I would even say that a mistweaver, especially your mistweaver, is actually a very good offensive healer, while the casted mistweaver is going to be a very good defender. So you have multiple ways to play the game. Again, I would suggest to test a lot of things, and I want you to again fill the cracks. And I know it's very annoying because sometimes you have a team that doesn't do anything you're saying, or is there you have a team that basically you know that you're going to have a difficult time because of the unflexible members you can have in a team. If you have a warlock that wants to be offensive, it is what it is. You can't force a warlock to defend, although you can actually say to them, look, you would be more valuable if you actually defend for your team. Or if you have like a resto druid, you could say, look, you can go offense, but depending on your comp, you would be actually very much more valuable for your tank if you had a lot of hots on them, so you can actually make the tank survive a lot of damage, for example. You have a lot of ways to win games, but I would say the meta thing to do is this, right? Again, if your teammates are not listening and you feel like you have no defenders or no offensive power, you have to call the shots and do it for yourself. You don't have to tell someone to do it. If they don't want to do it, if they don't listen like the first or second time, just drop it and do it yourself. Don't be cocky. Don't be saying, look, you lost because you didn't listen to me. That is bound to happen. You're going to lose games where you're going to shot call something and people are not going to listen. And that's something that is pretty much inter-gaming, competitive gaming genre. What I'm saying that is like a Overwatch game, or a Valorant game, or a CSGO game, or a League of Legends game, or even Trees in Soul Shuffle, whatever. You have those situations that are bound to happen, and it's your job to be flexible in Warsaw Gulch, for example. But the same goes for TP, basically. This is actually just a copy-paste for TP. TP is one of those games that, one of those maps where, to be honest, the differences are the levels that you have with the mountains, the edges where you can actually push people, for example. You have water environment where, again, if you're fleeing through water, you're going to be very slow. So again, you have a lot more depth map-wise. I do feel like Warsaw Gulch is more fun, though. I think most people are thinking like that. It may be that TP is probably the better map for you, which is something I can respect. But you have to, again, try to see what you can do to add something to your team. You don't want a situation where, again, you have everyone in offense and you're going to say to yourself, look, no one is defending, why would I defend? You should not think like that. You should actually think the opposite of selfishness. You need to be actually altruistic with that approach. You should be the team player. You should be actually the one that is going to make the team win because of your clear thinking and actually clairvoyance of actually defending or be offensive whenever you need. You also don't want to have everyone in defense, by the way. If you're a rogue and you feel like, look, we don't have offensive power, you can actually grab someone to go in offense. If they don't want to, well, it is what it is. But you as a rogue, you have the agency to actually win games by yourself with a good sap, with a good engage. If you're an assassination rogue or a subtlety rogue, is going to be quite interesting. So those are my tips for the flag maps. Again, you have multiple layers to how you can approach a map like, for example, TP or Warstone Gulch. I want to make more specific guides. Again, I need way more gameplay recordings to actually make those guides happen. So that will happen in the future once we have like either PTR games that are going to be popping off way more, or 10.2 whenever it's coming out. I'm going to for sure make those videos and make really strict guides even about like classes that I'm going to play. I'm going to say, look, those are the options that you can have as a warlock, what you can do about it, what you can do like tip wise, what are you going to do to actually carry games. In general, you want to have mid control. That's something I kind of forgot to talk. I think people think that team fighting at middle is pointless and stupid. I'm going to say that if you win middle and you kill people and make them go back to their graveyard, first and foremost, you're delaying a lot of things, but also you're going to have a clear way to go through the enemy FC, and your flag carrier has a lot more time to actually like prepare the offense that is going to come eventually after their death or after they are regaining mid. But the mid control is actually very important. You don't want to have like players like sitting in mid and waiting for people to come. That you don't want as well. But if there is a team fight, you don't need to say that, look, why are you fighting in mid? There is a reason why you're fighting in mid, because you want to actually control the map and actually push forward without people interrupting you left, right, and center. But that's my opinion again. I think like team fights are very huge on those maps. Rarely you will see 1v1s or 1v2s, while for example on domination maps, for example Arati Basin or Deepwind Gorge, 1v1s and 1v2s actually happen quite often, so you have to make a difference there. But if you want to watch that video, you will see that in the future. Again, it's very bare bones what I'm telling. Once we have guides, once we have like the actual gameplay in front of us where you're going to actually have an impact, I hope I can bring you something to the table, so please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to see some tier lists, you will see some tier lists like here above, and if you want to check out how you can choose your main, you can also see one of those videos on my left. Again, thank you, have a great day, bye.